everyone, come back again with me Nuraida Rahma as one of Indraprastha University student. On this video, I would like to share a step for studying English as a foreign language. Before we move to the steps, I will let you know about what will I do on my video. This is about the discussion outline. The first that I will give you a quote. Someone quotes about what language is. So the next is why we should learn English. So some steps or some strategies, and also don't forget. What I mean by don't forget? Stay tuned on this video. Here is the quotes that I took it from Frank Smith. He said that one language sets you in a corridor of life, but two language open every door along the way. We as Indonesian people that we understand one language is Indonesia, and then we can do everything we want in Indonesia, and also we can go to every city in Indonesia. But when we have two languages in ourselves, like Indonesia and English, it can open every door along the way that it can make us more easier to go to another or to do another job than other people that don't have any language in their self. So the reason why, this is the question, why we should learn English. There are 4 reasons that why we should learn English. The first, as we know that English is the language of business. We know that every company in Indonesia that using English are their second language to communicate with their another company. And this is the reason why that we as Indonesian people have to learn 2 language in ourselves that make us can get some work from a company. The next is English language is language of the internet. Now everything we found in social media that basic on English language. So when we choose to translate it into our language country, and that can be translated exactly to our understanding language. So the next is English is the most useful language for travel. We know that nowadays people choose to traveling around the world, from Indonesia to China to Bangkok to Philippines to Vietnam to Malaysia to Korea to Japan to Mecca or to another country. Even if the country has their own language, but it is difficult to us to study each language, right? And this is why English can be the most useful language for travel, because most of the people in other country too studying English. Just even we can ask about, hello, I want to go here, can you help me? Maybe everyone in this country can understand what you say. So the last, as we know that English is the most popular entertainment in the world is in English, from the music, the movie, the art, and the other, and this is all basic in English. So I give you some steps to learn English as a foreign language. In here I have 8 steps. The first is set language learning objectives. So the second is read content in a variety format. So the third is talk to English speaker. The fourth is take a formal English class. The fifth is practice writing in a variety format. The 6th is do word puzzles. The 7th is don't be afraid to ask for help. The last is go abroad. Everyone is going to go abroad. This is everyone's goals, right? So, set language learning objective. The first step is when we want to study English, we have to know that why we should study English. We have to make our goals, like when I'm finished from my study, my goal is I want to go to London, or I am going to be a translator when I have finished my English. This is what we learn by set language learning object, or there are three what we say it 3 step, no, three levels from studying English language. There are beginner, intermediate, and advanced. As a beginner, maybe we can do a basic conversation about ourselves, about our family, our school, our favorite things. And also as intermediate, when we have the level up to intermediate, we can begin it by watching television or watching English movie with any subtitles. When we try to understand someone speaking, we listen and we try to understand it with any subtitle that is can increase our frequency, how fast we can understand what they say exactly. So in advanced level, we can begin by reading an article from a newspaper and have a conversation about it. Like we took some newspaper and they're talking about a global warming or about Israel attacking Gaza, like that. So we can try to discuss it or to talk about it with our friends. So the second step is read content in a variety. People communicate differently depending on what platform they are. As nowadays that we can communicate from other people from another country by social media, from Instagram, from Twitter, from Telegram, or from any other platform. And from this we try ourselves to learn English not just from speaking and also from reading. We try to read and try to understand, because when we read it can make us to review our vocabulary word that we don't understand and pay attention to how native speakers structure their sentence, their paragraph, and their word choice. This is why from all the steps to study another speaking is reading. We try to read. From that read we can understand that why this word have to put in here or before subject, it should be after, and from this we can understand all. So after we try to read, we try to talk, because when we read we understand and we put it in our brain, so we try to talk it. Is this true to talk like this? As we know that knowing language is one thing. When we know, like from reading just we know, okay, I know it. But being able to communicate it is another level. So we know when you have know it, try to talk it. Why we have to talk to native speaker? Because when we talk to native speaker, we can know all the facts of learning English language, from pronunciation, circumlocution, comprehension, and the art of translating our talk into a response. Just begin from a small daily English communication, like today I am going to school and I find it. How about you? From daily basic conversation English. So the fourth is take a formal English class. I know that nowadays many platforms give you or they have guide you to study from them, from the video or from the audio or from the platform or application or another. But one thing you have to know that this is one of the important thing to take a formal English class, because what we learn outside the class and what we learn inside the class, that is different. As my teacher have said me before, that 75% from all the knowledge that we get is when we get it in our class. And then a formal English class will allow you to learn the language in an organized fashion. They have what they say, have the structure. No, they have organized it. On this day we have study about this, on that day we have study about this. Curriculum, they have a curriculum. If we study it by ourselves on media, we just choose I think this day I want to study about subject, or tomorrow I want to study about this, but that unorganized. If in the class it be organized, so it also helping you to continuously build up your strength and incorporate gains you have already made. Working with a specialist English teacher can be particularly helpful. Why? Because they have had to learn the language as well. As I know that when we are studying English from a media social and we have something to ask, we cannot ask the teacher because that is media, right? Because that is a video. But when we in the class, we can ask our teacher because we communicate, we in the same air, and we can communicate exactly, so we can discuss it and we can get more than what we don't know before. So the fifth is about practice writing a variety format. Even if our first our our first this no destination, our first purpose is to talk or to have English as a speaking, because we won't go to a board, but forget, we can talk, practice writing in variety format. Even if reading and speaking a lot are vital components in mastering the language, without reading and speaking, we can even mastering English language. But writing can be a great way to truly process anything you learn. Like nowadays, I am learning about the structure of words, so I can write it. So I gave it the topic about subject, how to use subject in continuous tense, so I can put it in my blog. And also you can challenge yourself to write on a variety of topics using the same themes you study in class, as I told you before. So when you have done writing it, just ask to your native English speaker or your teacher to correct what you have written. They can provide constructive feedback that help you learn as well. And maybe they can give, I'm sorry, this is wrong sentence, or you just do like this, no like this. That is the exactly correction from your teacher. So the sixth is do word puzzle. Why we have to do word puzzle? As we know, word puzzle is a game, right? They have an important reason why we have to study word puzzle. The first, crossword puzzle allow us to expand our vocabulary. We know that when we try to study English, we have to know about the vocabulary, because without any vocabulary we cannot speak, right? And also we can practice our spelling and train our brain to start thinking in another language. So use the crossword as small yet helpful exercise in reading a question in English and responding without too much delay. So don't be afraid. This is the important thing also. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Why? That we know that every people are afraid to ask for something that they don't know, because they think that if I ask her, he might, or if I ask her, she might think that I'm too full, or if I ask him, he might think that I am a very, what we say, very readless. This is important to become comfortable in knowing what you don't know. If we want to know a thing, we have to be more comfortable to reach what we want to know. So remember, everyone was a beginner at some point. Our teacher is not smarter from us. They just began it before we start to study it. So the last is go aboard. This is what I say you before, that everyone is putting go aboard to the first list on their purpose every year. There are a multitude of different dialect and word meaning through the native English speaking word, like British accent, American accent, Canadian accent. They have a different accent, right? And this is the reason when we go abroad and we talk to them, this might give us the big impact to our studies, because we can try to understand when one say water and one again say water. This is the big impact in our study. So this also can brush up the regional details of the country that you are facing. And last is, don't forget. Why we have to don't forget one thing in studying English? Don't forget to practice it, because however hard you how hard you train yourself to study English, and it means nothing when you don't practice it by yourself. Just begin it from practicing it by your own self, like talking to yourself in the mirror, or maybe you can talk to your friend as the example, or maybe you can talk a little bit to your teacher. So whenever you fall into one small step in studying English, just take it slow and remember why you are doing it, and make sure why doing it. I mean, when you feel hard when you study English, you have to read, you have to listen, you have to write, you have to practice it. So you are so down, just remember the very first thing why you study English is what your first goals. And the conclusion is, even if you don't follow my step to study English as a foreign language, just make sure that you study hard, you read hard, you listen hard, you try to speak hard, and you practice hard. So just remember that knowledge that has been obtained must be immediately practiced, both in speaking and reading and writing, so that it always remains in the memory. Like children, or like a baby, when they know the words mama, and she continued to say mama until nowadays. And the last is, don't forget to have fun while you learn. I think this just for me. If you find a mistake, that's come from me, and if you find a good, that's from God. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.